Welcome back, students. So what we're going to be making today is a loom made out of clay. So a loom is usually something that you would, like a device that you'd make a weaving on. And we actually are going to be making a weaving today, except for when you make a loom. Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be making a clay loom. A loom is a device that you would make a weaving on. And usually it's made out of wood or cardboard, or it could be made out of many things. Clay is a little unusual, but that's what I like about it, is that the weaving is going to be very soft and the clay is really hard. And so you have this idea of contrast, which is kind of exciting. So before we get started, I want you to think about what earthenware clay is made out of. Um, it's called earthenware clay because it's made from our earth. It's not a human-made material. It's actually just teeny tiny ground up rocks, and the earth creates its own rocks. You know that through your science classes with like lava, and then the elements wearing it down, like water and wind, rain, all that kind of thing. So it takes big rocks and makes them into a very, 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 very fine rock called clay. Why does it matter? You actually don't want to have clay floating around too much. You don't want to breathe it in. So if you choose to make this loom out of clay, then I want you to make sure that you clean up your area very well. My distance learners have a choice of using clay or using cardboard. And if you're an in-class or hybrid learner, then you will be making it out of clay, actually. So we'll just watch the clay dust no matter where you're working with it. What is our inspiration for our loom? Well, I'm going to ask you to choose either a geometric design or an organic design. So an organic design is going to have like a curvy or soft edge, and a geometric design is going to have more of a straight edge on that. So it will influence how you feel or what your piece looks like. So think about what you want to do before you get started. We're going to be using slab construction for this. In the past, you've used pinch, you used coil, and you used slab construction with me at the elementary school, if you've been with me before at the elementary school. And so this time is going to be slab. That's the best way to go about making this loom. So I'll be giving you an even thickness of clay, and we need to keep it an even thickness of clay, which means if you go to roll it out, don't squish it down. If you go to smooth it out, don't pinch it. You want to make sure that it stays even thickness all the way through all of the time, and you don't want to have a really, really thin loom. Things probably wouldn't go well that way. So some things that we're going to focus on today is shape, the shape of the loom. You want it to be geometric or organic. We're going to focus on texture. So that's anything that's repeated. And then we're also going to focus on the idea of space, positive and negative space. Positive space is going to be your cardboard or your clay surface, and negative space is when you take something away. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So we talked about textures in the last slide. So textures is anything that's repeated, whether it's organic in nature, like these are more like dots that are sort of randomly put down, but it creates a texture, or these waves that are randomly put into the clay. Patterns are more specific. It's really the same thing, often repeated. So patterns feel a little bit more prescribed, which I like both textures and patterns. I just want you to understand how it's going to make your artwork feel. So you can choose either one, but you have to have a variety of textures and patterns in your artwork. Now the idea is contrast. I want you to contrast some ideas. So smooth versus this texture over here, which is kind of deep and large, versus this texture over here, which is very small. These two textures contrast each other. This edge contrasts these two textures. So we're looking for a feeling of opposites in this piece to create excitement. We already have opposites, clay and the yarn, and now we're going to have opposite textures as well. So think about how you want to use that in your artwork. So today we're going to experiment with positive and negative space safely. Safely, I mean, just don't cut too deep into the clay. We're only working the surface. Yes, that would be terrible if we cut too deep. Maintain a slab when creating your loom. No pinching, and no rolling it out so it's very, very thin. That would not be a good idea. We're looking for smooth edges. As a fifth grader, I would expect you to be able to smooth your edges without pinching. And then you have to have a minimum of 5 textures or patterns. That might seem like a lot, but trust me, once you get going, you're going to groove on that. It'll be good. And then I also want your textures or patterns to be different from each other, so they're contrasting, okay? So have some fun experimenting with these thoughts, and when you come to class or when you pick up your materials, then you can go ahead and have a good idea of what you're going to make in class, and you can use your time efficiently. Thanks for watching, friends. Bye.